Hello, good day to you. Somebody kindly explained to me that the current lockdown obviously was based upon the two Shuckle brothers' false data, which they grossly exaggerated and was proven false by several people, including prominent, renowned names. And of course, the two Shuckle brothers were called in to explain the reasons why these were false to MPs. So somebody please kindly tell me why we're still in lockdown. So COVID lockdown stats are false, but they quietly changed the data. This is an article here in the MSM Express. It can be found in other outlets as well, but it does say that the stats are false to justify a second lockdown have been quietly amended. Now, why is that? So obviously the stats that they claimed were giving a huge outbreak of deaths was proven wrong, and quite rightly so, because the number of deaths is nowhere near the number they're claiming. And to be perfectly blunt with you, it's all a load of bollocks. So really, based upon the knowledge that the stats were wrong, why are we still in lockdown? Surely that idea, anybody would realise that, hang on, we should repeal it.
The question is not a question of whether. The question might be a question of when. Now, the only part of the country where at the moment I think there is realistic evidence that the numbers have flattened, where the R is approaching 1, is probably in terms of regions, the northeast. There may be some smaller areas elsewhere, but it is still, as far as we can tell, still going up, albeit at a much, much lower rate. And this is the view of the local directors of public health, as well as the central view, as well as the NHS view. So this is a quite widely held view. I think that what you're indicating, and rightly, is that putting exact dates on these things is almost impossible. There's what government does. There's also how people themselves respond to the fact that they see a problem locally. And so neither Patrick nor I nor anyone who's advising government would say this is definitely going to happen on this date. And I think people who give that degree of certainty have not understood how modelling of this sort with scenario uncertainty properly works. But the inevitability that if your R remains above 1, even if it's by quite a small amount, once you've actually got to a high level of bed usage, you've got very little headroom. So quite a small R can take you from I'm just about coping to I'm not coping. And that is we're looking forward in a bad way to the fact that the most difficult time for respiratory viruses, we all know, for all respiratory viruses, is over the winter months. We haven't fully even got into them. So the chances things are likely somehow to improve without action between now and the next few months are quite low. So I think that if you're giving advice to ministers, that has to be the advice you give.
Worse than that, why is it only me that thought this? Why has there not been any response to this anywhere? No MSM, no secondary, no alternative, no other videos, no other bloggers. I've not seen anything yet, and saying this fact is that if the data was based upon if the lockdown was based on false data, then the lockdown is invalid, so it should be repealed. And all they've done is reduce the actual stats, but it doesn't mean anything. And if you listen to this idiot, he goes on about the R rate. And I don't believe anything he says anyway, because he's a lying dad. And him and the other Chuckle brother, they need to be brought up in a court of law and prosecuted for fraud. Because I don't care how they package it, I don't care how they try and excuse it, they lied. And it's plainly obvious to even the most thickest denier. Okay, so the most thickest sheepy should be able to tell that these two idiots, these two paid lackeys of the government, are supporting their regime and they are lying to you. So why are we still in lockdown? Sleep well, don't have nightmares, and I'll catch you in the next video.